Hey, this is Threat from NIP, and you're listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Episode 73 coming to you live, pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, August 30th, 2017. The time, we will say 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have, in my opinion, the best episode ever. I might be biased, but I think it's safe to place a bet on it.
The return of the king.
That's right. Anuj is back, unfortunately. Anuj, hello.
What's up, buddy?
Glad to see you survived your surgery.
You ready to make this the
You look
best
no
show
different.
ever? I look great, don't I?
Yeah, when does it kick in?
It grows a little bit soon.
And then we have Brett. Through the power of technology and maybe a shaky Discord connection, we have
Slightly.
Brett. Brett, hello.
The internet is a fickle beast, man.
We'll see how it wants to work this time. We barely made it through the last episode, but we managed. We managed.
Yeah.
So
Good, better times are coming.
yeah, we'll see. You've been saying that for like a month. So we
I
do
have.
have episode 73, the best episode ever here. We have e-news as always. Fun stuff in e-news. Lots of beta action going on. Call of Duty World at... Why do I do that? Call of Duty World War II.
I do the same thing. I don't
Every
know
Been
why.
doing
time.
that for weeks.
Every time.
What's wrong with you?
World War II and Destiny 2, CSGO. But we wanted to start the show off with a little bit of QuakeCon. Oh, and of course, follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring.
Of course.
Always gotta start the show
Gotta
off
plug.
with that.
Gotta plug.
Gotta plug in. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your loved ones. We went to
hello to me.
QuakeCon over the weekend. When I say we, I mean Anuj and I. We live literally. Yeah, Brett's commitment is showing. So
Yeah.
we live
Sorry.
within like 15, 20 minutes of the Gaylord Texan where QuakeCon was held at this year. So we figured, why not? We got some press passes, which we didn't need because it's a free event, but it makes us look important. At least makes me feel important. So we decided to go. I went Thursday, the very first day, and Saturday, the last day. You met me up there Saturday. So, embarrassingly so, this was my first time at QuakeCon. And it's always like right here in
Yeah, it's
Dallas.
always close by.
And we basically lived here. I've lived here almost my entire life. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't been here that long. It's been 32 years.
that's, you know, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so
right around
you've
there.
had some time. And I've never been to QuakeCon. No real particular reason why. I guess it's just the timing never worked out, and I don't know.
No, we
Just
kind
never-
of like had our own LAN parties also.
Yeah,
versus,
we do DreamHack now
Yeah.
every year. That's kind of our thing, driving down to Austin. My impression of QuakeCon, for those who don't know, if you've ever been, and if you've never been to DreamHack, this won't make sense either, but it's like a very mini scaled down version of DreamHack. Like when we go to DreamHack Austin, it's the entire convention center, second and first floor, and
a lot of exhibitors.
I would
and-
probably say 600 BYOC.
Yeah, so if you don't know, both of these events are known for the BYOC. I mean, DreamHack included. Now it's become so big because of like CSGO and these esports are growing so much, but these events are known for big LAN parties, and DreamHack is a much larger scale. I mean, as far as number of attendees, I feel. But yeah, there was like maybe a third of the exhibitors, wouldn't you say, as DreamHack? If
I
even
mean,
that many?
no, not even that. I mean, it
Yeah.
was the exhibitors were there to say that they had exhibitors, I felt. So this is my thing, and this is not directly esports related, but I think some of the marketing is related towards esports, right? My only disappointment, or a few disappointments with QuakeCon, I'm glad it's free. Because if I actually had to pay to go,
Yeah.
it would not be worth paying for.
Unless
I'll
you're
say
a
that.
huge Quake fan, right? Like if you're a huge
Okay,
Quake fan and
see-
enjoy the tournament,
and this would be my complaint on that is it's you have the stage there, and yes, the whole focal point is Quake, but it didn't feel like a celebration of Quake. You get what I'm saying? Like when I was going, I was expecting to walk through the door and just see Bethesda and all their games, Fallout, Castle Wolfenstein, whatever. And I was expecting to see what's the Fallout armor called?
yeah, but like that whole
Power
thing,
armor.
like the
Yeah,
whole
power
suit.
armor. I was
Yeah.
expecting to see like a power armor statue standing there. I was expecting to see Quake statues.
You
or
wouldn't know it was a Quake event other than the Quake symbol that was top center of the stage. There was that one big Quake symbol there.
I was really wanting to be embraced in the Quake and Bethesda atmosphere, and I just felt like it wasn't.
like they could have even had somebody like dressed up in an outfit or
It's
something,
something.
and just something to make it more, themed.
I was expecting
towards
a little
Quake.
bit more cosplay towards Bethesda games.
Yeah,
Whether that be Quake or Fallout or Skyrim. I mean, you barely saw Skyrim there even acknowledged.
I didn't even know.
Well, they had the VR,
Oh, that's
Skyrim
right.
VR.
Yeah, they had
area.
like Razer had a pretty cool booth over there. I thought Razer had the big
Yep.
truck.
Now, I
and-
did hear from someone there that it was kind of a last minute thing to have it at the Gaylord. I guess the Hilton Anatole, which is normally where it's held at.
Yeah,
Conflicting issues or whatever. I don't know. But all I'm saying is for the experience that I had, it was fun to go to. It was awesome to see you could check out our Instagram. I think Anuj, you either did or are going to put photos.
we'll put photos
We'll
up
put
soon.
photos. And kind of check out the cool PCs that people brought there. But as far as esports goes, the games themselves was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So this was kind of the first, it was the first QuakeCon with Quake Champions.
I walked in during the championship. Is when I came in.
Yeah. So on Saturday was the championship for both the duels and the sacrifices. which
ending rather early, right?
They call their team deathmatch or whatever you want to call it is their sacrifice. That's their
Yep.
team mode. It was kind of, and that was another thing that I felt was weird is that like when we were at ESL Dallas, I really didn't want to leave. Like I felt like I was okay being there all day.
Oh yeah,
right.
even if you weren't like.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we went there from I think what the matches started. We probably got there around 9 a.m. and by 6 I was like, I'm ready to. I can still chill here.
Yeah.
This was fun. At DreamHack, I mean, obviously we are there from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Like you would never have to leave DreamHack.
Even then, 2 a.m. seemed early.
Yeah, and even
Yeah.
right, but we're old. 2 a.m.'s late for us. At QuakeCon, even on Thursday, I was there with our buddy Branderson for 2 hours, and afterwards felt
I got enough out
like
of
you
this.
got enough of it. I'll just go home and watch these matches in the comfort of my own computer chair.
Yeah.
I don't have to be there. Plus, they were having major internet issues to where it pushed the games far back, and I
It
don't
was worth
again I
it
don't
for
blame
the interactions. Like we got to meet
Yeah.
like friend of the show, Blue.
Blue. We got to
Um,
catch up. He's been on our show before.
We
He
met
was
for the
nice
fir-
enough to pretend that he remembered us.
I think he did.
You
I think he
think-
did.
you
know
think
what?
he really
He
did?
remembered us because we didn't record half of his interview.
We were
that-
rememberable. Yeah, he probably remembers us for the sake of these are the idiots that
Like didn't hit record
didn't
to start
record
off.
half the way through.
But don't worry, you didn't miss anything. He was just talking about his dog the whole time.
We
so.
met Ketchup and Mustard, legendary
did. That was
casters.
cool.
They were
That
really
was
they were
cool.
actually really nice.
They took the time to talk with us, just being candid, which was cool. It
Right.
didn't feel like,
No, I mean they
yeah.
talked about the matches, right?
Yeah,
they
we talked
talked
about the games.
how Claus ended up winning not only duels, but his team 2Z ended up beating or winning in sacrifice. So Claus is a 19-year-old now
Let that register for a second.
relatively new to Quake. I think what did they say? He only started playing like
A year or two ago. I mean, it was new. He was recent.
Right. And now even for Quake Champions, where everyone is somewhat new, just given the fact that the game's in early access, now this 19-year-old, relatively unknown for the scene, is now champions in both. Right, the inaugural thing of Quake Champions, he ended up beating everything. I thought this was hilarious that he ended up beating Vu, who is kind of a well-known player in the Quake scene. He's been playing since like Quake 2. Okay? And one of his funny quotes, and I do not know if this was before or after the finals and duels, but he brought up the fact that he has been playing Quake longer than Claus has been alive. Like we have I don't think that's ever been able to been said before in esports where we finally passed that checkpoint. You
Yeah.
know, like you always hear like Brett Favre playing or Yamir Yager in the NHL, right? He's playing with guys. He could probably be playing with some grandsons
Yeah.
of people that he knows.
45, so
Right.
It's like,
It's like father-son playing together, like Ken
Exactly.
Griffey Jr. and his dad. You
Right.
know, like,
And we've never really had that opportunity at all, right? That's why when you hear someone of being like 30 in esports, you're like, whoa, you're old.
people think old people can't be esports players. It's
There's-
because we
there's
haven't
a
hit that generational.
There's a stigma where, and I get it, before like 22, 24 was kind of the age to retire. Like
Well,
if you look a lot
needed
of
to go
old
live
hair-
real life, right?
I mean, there,
You weren't
the
making a
money
living.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
The money wasn't there. And now we have guys, you know, Claus, 19, beating a guy who's been playing the game longer than he's been alive.
Yeah.
Not by much, but still the stats there. It's funny to me.
Imagine if he stays at the top of his game. You know, he could play these games for another 10, 15 years. You know, he just made $250K on his own right there, you know, for one
I think it's
event.
pretty awesome. Overall, I had fun at QuakeCon.
For the time we were there,
For the
it was
time we were
fun.
there, it was fun. I will say, as far as esports wise, it was great. The games were really fun to watch and everything there. They put on a good stage presentation. As far as a whole, I was a little disappointed.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind doing it to be a LAN attendee at one point. I don't think that would be the worst thing.
Turn on the AC, and then you'll have me interested.
Yeah, that's also true.
Walking-
it was a little hot.
Walking
little hot.
around the venue, I was starting to like feel it in my pants. Like I am sweating right now.
Part of the problem is we went to this event after we've been to multiple DreamHacks. So if you compare the two, there's really not
There's
much.
not, but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it's
it's
a free
unfair.
event, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
but
reason.
to hold it like as its own event, like
Here's my thing. I wouldn't be opposed to paying like $20 to get in if there was more.
yeah,
You know,
ending at midnight's a little bit of a problem for me too.
for
like,
a LAN
yeah,
event when
for a
we
LAN
live 10
event,
minutes.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see though. We'll be there. We met some listeners there. That was cool to see everyone, or I say everyone. We only have like 5 listeners to begin with, but it was cool to see
Yep.
like 25% of you there.
DDK was there. That was kind of neat.
DDK
There's
was
some
there.
big names in the casting side.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We'll definitely have to go to next year's QuakeCon and any other event in the DFW area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, for those who are not familiar with it. I know last week I said that we had meaningful Counter-Strike back finally. This week we have meaningful Counter-Strike tournaments back with DreamHack Masters Malmo, which actually just started today, so we weren't really able to do a proper preview for it, but we're really trying to actually stick to this every Wednesday night we record, kind of rain or shine.
Well,
right?
even if we did this tomorrow, we weren't going to know a ton more. You know, some of the groups would be
Right.
finalized, but
So here, I mean, some of the bigger stories right now, just right off the top, Virtus Pro is already eliminated. Day one, actually, big. I mean, first off, every team in this tournament, other than Boot, are big teams, right? Maybe Boot, Renegades, but other than that, I mean, Team Envious and Mouse Sports were also eliminated. So those are some big names.
yeah.
I bring up Virtus Pro because I would like to think that when I said a while back, right, I think even during the major, when everyone was like, see there, Virtus Pro is back. Like, I even think Thorin still had them in his, like, top 5 or whatever
Yeah.
his rankings are. He still had them as, like, a top 10, top 5 team. And I said on this show that, no. What they did at the major was not them coming back. It was them overperforming. Right?
It
There's
was
a
them
difference.
doing
Yeah,
what they do at
and-
majors.
and the excuse, their excuse, there's no more excuses. They are the team that has the most continuity in the entire scene. There are teams that are playing better than them that are going through roster changes. They're the highest paid pros in their scene.
When Renegades knocks
Enough's
you out, there's
enough.
no excuse.
Enough.
You know,
Yeah,
they've
enough-
they've made
enough-
every excuse under the sun.
Yeah.
They've made the excuse for ESL saying it's an online event.
Yeah.
They made the excuse for the E-League money match saying that it wasn't really that much money for them. You know?
Yeah, like
it's-
I'm a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just tired of like on Twitter today, like Pasha, all he had to say for himself was, fast exit. Okay. How about a little emotion like, "Hey, Virtus Pro, I'm sorry, I'm stealing your money."
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like,
like with VP, I feel like they're all committed. I really do. Like, I believe that they have a passion for the game, to be doing it for that long, to want to stick together as a unit. I feel like they have a real passion for the game. So I don't doubt that. Their problem is we know what they are at this point, right? We've seen it's the same story. It's been a couple years in a row now, so it's not anything new. They perform poorly in events
And
that really aren't majors
I
for the
think
most
the
part.
thing that makes it tough on an internal team side too is like it's not just one player. You know, it's really right now it's the entire squad of VP that is just playing poorly.
Yeah, I mean,
You
Neo
know,
had a terrible
yeah,
game today. I
was
mean,
it?
it was just
Snacks, I think bottom fragged and
well, Neo bottom
Yeah,
frag
it's
today. He had like 8 frags
well,
or
but I'm
something.
saying I think against Navi,
Oh,
Snacks
yeah.
was bottom frag, so who's normally like their clutch king there.
My issue is not that they
It-
lost to Renegades. I think Renegades is a decent team. I really do. Like they have AZR, Ustello, like they have some good players. The issue is like how bad they're losing these games, right? Like they're not even competitive sometimes against some of what we would consider lower tier 1 competition. They were minus 21 in the tournament. The only team that was worse is Boot, who I couldn't even tell you one player on that team.
No.
And so that's pretty rough.
Boot
Especially what
also has a awful logo.
And that's one of the easier groups, right? You know, not as Vincier has Navi hasn't been playing that well. Renegades is again a lower tier 1 team, so really that's the most open. Mouse I think got a rough draw. You know, you have the last major winner Gambit. You got Ninjas who played fantastic and beat FaZe today, which was an awesome match for those of you that didn't see
I think
it.
phase is we are learning that is a learning curve. They are in a phase, if you will.
They've been in a slump if you even look at the last couple of matches prior to these guys joining, right? With Alu and
Well, remember when they made the big change, people I saw on Reddit, like a lot of FaZe fans were kind of like, "This is ridiculous that we're even making changes right now. Like this is not like we're in a slump, but don't blow it up because of
yeah,
it."
I mean, look at it. That was like a quick, but you know, again, Olaf and
You don't
Guardian
say
are
no.
available. You
We've
don't
said
say
it
no,
about.
but
We've said it before.
yeah, I mean, it was a tough loss to Ninjas, but they bounced back and beat Mouse and eliminated Mouse. Unfortunately, I think Oscar had a fever the whole tournament, so that sucks, you know, to have to play with that. But yeah, that was a tough group, and Group D was also, you know, fairly competitive all the way across.
Now I did watch more of Group A, obviously being Cloud9. So I watched all of Cloud9 matches today. They went 1-on-1, 1-and-1 rather. They beat Boot, which eliminated them, and then they lost to North. I think they're playing well underneath this new roster. Tarek actually was IGLing today.
Yep.
So Stewie kind of relieved the duties there, basically stating that Tarek wanted IGL. He seemed excited. He wanted to do it. Right now, it's tough to tell right now because the only other kind of measuring stick you have for all these roster changes is ESL Pro League, which we have come to find out every team takes it differently, right? Virtus Pro clearly didn't care at all. They're not even in it this year, being that they were so bad last year in
Look
it.
at G2
won it and then
hasn't
admitted
performed
that-
since then.
well, and even then admitted that they didn't care about it midway season because they thought they were out of it. So mentally, you don't know how teams are performing. Cloud9's been going a little bit rough, losing twice to CLG and splitting one
Yep.
through NRG, which I don't care if you have a new roster. If you have a roster like Cloud9, you shouldn't be dropping anything to those teams, and yet here you are. I don't know.
Valde looked really good on North today.
Yeah.
He played an amazing game against Cloud9.
They're set to play SK tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it goes into best of threes tomorrow, so you'll have all the 1-0s play each other, and then they'll go into a best of 3 for an elimination against the 1-1s.
Is that how they're?
Yeah, so
is that how
FaZe
it's going?
will be in an elimination match. You know, they'll have one opportunity, and it'll be against Nip, who beat them already, or you know Gambit, who is also going through their own changes. I feel bad for Envious, honestly. Envious has been playing really well, and it's kind of gone unnoticed because they haven't been in the biggest events. But they've been on a tear recently, so to see them get eliminated is disappointing, especially with Immortals. Like, the hell's happening there at this point? You know, like rumors of 3 of them wanting to leave, and they've signed a 6th player onto the bench or whatever. Like, it's kind of a crazy situation.
The Immortals doesn't make sense to me at all, other than just the conflicts in opinions in the roster, like internally wise, it's kind of weird. I guess it's a cliche to say we're just gonna have to wait to see what happens. But when you're looking at all this, there's been so many. I mean, I'll just count it up right here. Let's go through the entire, what is this, 16 teams here. Just real quick, yes or no, have there been roster moves in the month of August, right? During the off season, was there a roster move? SK?
No.
North?
Yep.
Cloud9?
Yep.
Sure. Boot?
Maybe.
Sure. We'll say no. Okay. So that's 2 so far. Gambit?
Yep.
Yes. Nip? I don't think they had one in August.
Not in August, but you know what? It's damn close enough for them at this point.
I don't think they've had enough play with their current roster to where you can still say, right?
They haven't had really any gameplay.
That's 4.
FaZe, yep.
FaZe, yes. Mouse Sports, yes. Yep. Astralis, no. Right?
Astralis, no. Navi, yes.
Navi, yes.
Renegades, no. VP, no. G2,
no. Immortals, we'll say
yes for internal conflict.
Much has been going on. Fnatic.
Yep.
And then Envious, no. So if I counted correctly, is that 10?
Yeah, something like that.
9 or 10?
Yeah.
If I missed something
and like a lot of these are like major changes.
Right.
This is not like replacing maybe a poor performer. With Gambit, you're losing your IGL. With Navi, you're getting an IGL. With Cloud9, you're replacing 2 legends. North has booted off a young player, and it's big changes for them. Mouse Sports have been playing well, and I think we all thought they were playing well, and they made 2 major changes. So, Fnatic, whole different team, and hard to recognize at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of big changes in the scene, and it'll take a while to adjust.
And Brett, you've been quiet so far, but I am curious on what your take is with. I mean, basically, what the topic is at hand. It's kind of morphed into roster talk, but. Just in general, what do you see going forward in this tournament and in general the rosters?
Well, I mean, I don't foresee any new roster changes other than Immortals, right? Like pretty much all of them, all the rest of them are set. I mean, it's just the nature of majors,
right? Are we confident Virtus Pro is set after this?
Yeah, I mean,
remember everyone said the major bought them time, but
they seem bulletproof at this point. Like it's pretty much like the players are going to have to be like, all right, let's make a change. It's not going to be ownership. It's not going to be coaches. It's going to be the players just finally deciding that, hey, this isn't working. We're done.
I will say this.
When they lose legend status, that's when they break.
That's when they break, you think? So right now,
they have legend status
as long
still.
As they're legends, they're fine.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think it's funny that I feel like the same people who try to convince me that Virtus Pro is still Virtus Pro of old are the same people who believe Thorin isn't getting all these jobs by choice.
Yeah, or that Fnatic is going to win and come back on the 2015 team.
There is proof in the pudding. Is that it?
Yeah, this Thorin thing is pretty crazy, right? Though, like, can we go back to that for a second? He's not in any event.
No, like he's off of E-League and
ESL. He's not doing ECS.
You would think again. You would think that maybe he's just taking time off, but then he tweets saying like, "Oh, I want to say they're better off without me," but
like DreamHack, he's not doing any DreamHack events. Like,
look,
he's not on anything coming
up. We're not mainstream media, okay? Here, folks, we're not in any owner's back pockets, okay? So if we could take a time to speculate,
unless you want us in your back pocket, contact us.
Listen, our price tag is. I'm not saying
it's a low number.
Saying
it's
I can't be
low number,
right? Like, think of what low is to you and then lower it and then call us. That being said, until then, I can say this or speculate. Has it finally came around on Thorin?
No, yeah, 100%. You can't talk crap about everybody in the scene.
Everybody,
okay? There's nobody that's safe when it goes into his mouth. And I think we all feel this way. I mean, Brett, are you on the same page here with us on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point where, I mean, you can have an opinion and you can be controversial, but he takes it to like a whole nother level, right? Like, he's burned too many bridges. I think it's like
we're no prudes to what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean,
I know we sound like angels on this podcast, but
no, he not only does it like on TV when he had the opportunity to. If you follow him on Twitter, I mean, it's like non-stop with him, and so it's gonna bite you in the ass at some point. Let's be real.
Also want to follow all this up with is that I think when it comes to knowledge of Counter-Strike and esports in general, I mean, I don't think he's second to none, right? Like, as far as when he wants to talk and be serious, I could really listen to him all day. It's just the in-between. It's
The cheap shots.
It's just, it gets old
That's
after
all
a
it
while,
is,
I
though.
think.
Yeah.
It's just how they say, the kids call it now banter, right?
It's funny when you're doing it every once in a while, but when that becomes like your thing and like that's what you become known for,
And we're
when
not
he's a brilliant historian, man.
We're
like,
not
the dude
saying
knows-
anything that no one said before, though.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
It gets old.
It's just old. And people call him out now on it. Like I've seen players reply back, and it's like nobody enjoys it anymore. First of all,
All
the
the
players'
time.
egos have grown, 10 times compared to what they were, and I'm sure everyone's a little bit more like sensitive now towards this stuff. And you have somebody call you out. How many
As-
people are going to be happy?
As someone who works in media, like I do,
You're talking about the podcast.
I'm talking about my radio career, sir. 5 years radio. I've always felt it really weird and a little uncomfortable how what you would consider the media in esports looks as themselves as part of the scene, right? In no other sports world is that a thing. You have a very distinct line between athlete and team and media member. In esports, it's almost like, oh man, look, there's Richard Lewis or there's Thorne, and oh look, he's hanging out with all the players. They're best buds. They're all together.
It's
And-
crazy that the conversation just morphed into this because I swear I was thinking this the other day how only in CS do casters and analysts believe that they're bigger than the player. Like I really feel like most
They
of them
feel, and excuse me if I'm jumping on your thought here, but only in I'll say esports in general, do they feel like the players need them?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Right?
they think they're like, hot blank, you know what I'm saying? Like they really do. So you notice it more
Hot-ish.
hot-ish.
is how we edit that.
Hot-ish. I like that. Yeah. So, their egos are massive, and like now they're selling their own gear, and like, you can buy T-shirts from.
Would you ever
them.
buy a Tim Kalishaw T-shirt?
No.
I would actually. Tim,
No.
I love you. But yeah, I mean, it's like it's just
a podcast.
no. I think their egos are like massive, and then they're gonna get put in check, right? Like you're only so big. You can be replaced pretty easily. You can't replace the talent on the
No.
field, But these guys need to get put in check sometimes, and I think Thorne definitely like got a reality check when you're not on anything.
Yeah, like I said, I wish him the best, but I definitely it's noticeable. It's
Yeah.
gotten to the point now where before you were like, hey, maybe he's taking a vacation, and now it's kind of like,
Haven't seen them in a while.
Are the winds-
E-League
the
announcement
winds
was
are
the big one,
changing.
right? Like
Yeah.
they announced it, and you don't see his picture. Like, oh,
and everyone points it out.
Oh,
right?
everybody,
I mean, there's
yeah.
a post on Reddit
Everybody,
like,
it's
hey,
it's funny to see.
who's missing here? In other CS:GO news, there's no point in saving it for e-news. Tarek, IGL to Cloud9 already, and Optic Gaming has finally officially benched NAF and added HS.
From Penta.
Yep.
Yeah, good player for Penta.
Is that how you say his name?
HS?
HS?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not his.
We'll go either one.
Hiss.
It works.
His.
Yeah, no, I mean, good player. Penta has just gotten blown up.
You feel for him, but it's the curse of you being that team.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Like Penta's gotten plucked, and I think Crystal's like the
Welcome.
remaining.
Welcome to flip side life,
Right? Oh, except they were like asking for $1 million buyouts.
And the next team is going to be big, I guess. That
Yeah. I mean,
as
that
they
big is kind of fallen off.
But for
from the
big,
major
like
hype.
they stuck together to find their own org. Remember, like
Yeah.
they were trying to get orgs to like bid on them. So I could see them staying with big just for loyalty purposes. NAF getting benched is a big deal, isn't it? Like
I think so.
NAF was a good player.
Well, and I felt like he kind of stuck with Optic through all the drama of.
he was the only player from like the beginning, right? He was like the oldest player on the
Yeah.
team.
Oh,
mean, I kinda saw this coming.
I thought they all came together. Wow. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, I think he'll find a good
kind of knew he
home.
was going to be a stopgap, right? Like he really didn't seem confident. Like it was in his tweets.
Well, right now,
could see it
yes.
coming. Yeah.
I mean, what's
Well, he was a
I mean,
stand-in. They
They
knew he was a
They
stand-in for the
publicly
last
announced
event.
that
Yeah.
hey, you are a stand-in on the roster where you're basically benching you, but we need you right now type of deal.
So now you're seeing two mixed international teams with FaZe and Optic, which is pretty neat to finally, break up the NAEU, I guess, stigma or whatever. I think this is kind of nice for the sport in general. Most of these players speak such good English. It's so impressive because I can't even speak
English well.
They speak English well, right? So they speak English well, and that's good. I think that's cool, and we'll see more talented, diverse teams. I think going forward.
I think you are correct. NAF Mixwell joined Optic 3 months after NAF.
Yeah, Naf was like the oldest standing player, so that's it's big to see him leave. And like you said, he's been there through all the changes and the ups and downs, and I think it's probably cool for them to know that they at least made it, really far in one E-League with that previous roster.
And I know they've been getting.
It's not going to take him long to land on his feet, though.
No, where do you think he goes?
I don't know. Who needs a?
I think you're looking at kind of a. No.
Liquid for Rush.
Yeah, maybe Liquid.
Not Rush. I mean, what's his name? Nitro or something.
I think maybe, but even then, I think if he was going to any NA team, it's gonna be like a NRG type of.
No.
Man.
I mean, pick but here's the thing: it's not a reflection on his skill.
It's just what's available.
Pick a top tier NA team
well, it's
that
not going to be
needs
Cloud9
to make a roster move.
Well, there's only two top tier
exactly.
NA teams.
That's
so.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's going to go to a second tier. He was on the lowest of the top. He was already
lowest or
on,
highest at one point.
right?
Yeah.
So he was already on the worst of the best NA teams. Where does he have to go from here?
Problem with NA players, they don't speak generally a second language. That's a CS country, right? Like most.
Well, I mean,
Americans in school, we get to learn Spanish or French, right?
he does speak Canadian. He's from Canada, so
him and Shroud.
him and Shroud could have that inner Canadian conversation. What else? I was going to make one other point here. I don't know.
We like CS:GO.
I had a really hot point and I lost it. What can you do?
Come back to it if it's good.
Yeah, I'll let you know. It'll probably come back to me right when we're done recording. Anyways, let's move on here, though, to more of a discussion rather than any type of hard analytic breakdown, because everyone's always looking for the next big esports, right? Every game now we have an esport mode where it used to just be called multiplayer.
Yep.
Right now, every game is, hey, we have the next big
competitive
esports.
gaming,
it's
man.
We have a competitive gaming mode. You mean multiplayer? No.
I get what they're saying in these games cases. Obviously,
it's esports mode.
They tailor it to be a more viewer-friendly format, is what they should say.
It's esports mode.
We have a viewer-friendly format.
I'm going to call it
game.
esports mode. Now, does this game have esports? So Call of Duty World War II
Boots on the ground
and Destiny
Hell
2
yeah.
both had betas in this recent week, one being closed in Call of Duty and one being open in Destiny. I'll let you guess which one probably had more talk in the public's eye. Hint, Destiny.
saw awesome reviews.
More of a
for
shot
COD
at
too, though.
Call of Duty for not being open beta.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I did buy a beta pass though.
So whenever
So-
that hits PC.
Nope, I'm just gonna do it on PS4 for this next
Really?
weekend. Yep, I just want to try it out. Do it before Destiny starts up.
Yeah, so full disclosure in this conversation, none of us have tried Call of Duty World War II yet. Now, watching it, okay? Because I'm not talking. I don't care how it feels. It's if it's any game for Call of Duty is gonna feel fine.
It's gonna feel
Right.
like Call of Duty,
Especially
right?
with,
Yeah.
like you said, boots on the ground. I'm not jumping 4 stories or invisibility or anything like. It's gonna feel fine. I have no question in that. My thing is, how is this going to transfer over from Infinite War or Infinite Warfare, and how are the pros going to receive it? Surprising.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I watched a couple of pros play it on Twitch. Clayster, and I watched Summit play with Clayster, and Nameless and a couple of other guys. And I haven't really played like a Call of Duty game in a long time. On console. And so I trust the player, the pros of what they think of the game, and a lot of them seem to like it. They really the only gripe I heard from the pros side is that the levels, like the height levels on some of the maps, like with a console, it's more so like eye level and peripherals, and like you have to look on this map structure, you have to look up, which on a console, if you have to like look up constantly to kind of check angles and stuff, it's kind of hard.
Right.
So they felt like it should be kind of more, height is good, but kind of more just like at eye level and the peripherals and stuff like that for aiming and stuff for the console.
That's
But
whatever to me. They just played a
that's
jetpack game. Like people are flying over you,
yeah.
So like,
But
how
this
much
is
worse
boots on
could
the
it
ground.
get? Like
It does seem
this
a bit
seems like a
odd.
little bit easier, right? I
Well,
watched
even
a
when you're
ton.
jetpacking, you're still at eye level with other people. But their thing was like boots on the ground. They want more just
Yeah, like
you know.
yeah.
Sounds like
I
console
heard some
problem.
gripes about one of the maps. Yeah, like
Yeah,
there's one
that's
map where there's
console
like a
problem.
middle bridge, and I heard gripes about that map. But as a whole, like I follow a lot of these guys on Twitter. I try to get more involved with the COD scene. Like I think it would just be good to know more about the professional scene.
What Anuj is saying is that he is volunteering to be TCR's COD correspondence.
You know what? I don't
God bless
mind.
you.
Like I don't mind because I really enjoyed, like I said, the Infinite Warfare
Going live to the
series.
scene.
But the experience I had watching it, it looked fun. Like it didn't look
Yeah.
bad. My problem
It's
is
going to be really okay. So go finish your thought.
well, like I'm afraid, for me personally, it's one of those games where I would put 30, 40, 50 hours into, which isn't a lot of hours if you don't game a lot. Like it's just, or if you game a lot, like it's not a lot. And then I would get kind of burnt out on it with it coming out so close to Destiny 2 is my problem, right?
I was about to say, I was really wanting to play it. Now, first off, I would play it on PC,
That's
which
also
in a
the biggest
weird,
issue.
which in a weird way almost feels like not the way to play Call of Duty because let's face it, it is dominated on the console scene.
Yeah.
Right. That's where the pros play. That's where you're going to find, oddly enough, the best competition as far as that goes.
There's
Now,
no pro scene for
Do-
COD PC.
No,
like
none.
there's not,
There's
it's
not
non-existent. So
there's no side tournaments, nothing. I wish it wasn't like that. Just me being PC master race that I am. I think it would be a lot better on PC, but I think Activision is smart and realizes that there's a lot more competition on PC for them
they dominate the
and dominate
yeah,
the
they dominate the FPS
the console.
scene.
There's no question there. So if I get it, it will be for PS4. Will I get it? I don't know. And the reason I was pretty sure I was going to get it because it is World War II and I'm a sucker for that. But then Destiny's beta came out, and oh
Good lordy.
my God! Why don't you be a professional, Anuj? Okay? Why don't you
Getting
turn
blown
off
up
your
by
phone?
the
all right?
ladies,
Is that
aka my wife.
is that your Call of Duty inside sources?
It actually, yeah,
Is that your?
it is. They
That's
said
awesome.
Destiny is amazing. That's the
Oh.
first thing they said.
That's weird for your Call of Duty source to say that, but
It's like crazy.
Hey.
He's on the hype train too, like we are.
so
So can I?
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I know we're gonna talk Destiny, and you guys have played it before, so you have something to go off of. So me, I've never played Destiny before, so this is my first, just kind of introduction to the game. I liked it. Like, I mean, the maps are very fluid. The aiming, I started getting down a little bit. I mean, it just felt so crisp and clean, like it was polished, like
Right.
just
It's
polished game, just ready for esports.
for
I
a
think. Like,
for a game that originated on console only. Destiny 1 wasn't even on PC.
Right.
The port, I don't even know if it's a port.
It's
Do you-
it's not a port.
It's not a
Yeah,
port.
It's not a port.
Okay. That explains because it is so smooth.
oh my god,
Flawless. Like
it was great.
I had an opportunity to play it on the PS4 beta, so I felt like I just played it a few weeks ago, and then now try it on PC. And
You're going to be so upset when you have to go back to PS4.
well, yeah. So like it was funny because I played it on the PS4 beta, and I liked it. Like I liked it, but I was like, man, like it's like feels almost the exact same. Which could be a problem too, right? Like I didn't feel it was too much different, but like it was still Destiny, so I was like, okay, I'll enjoy it. I'll play it. Then I played it on the PC, and it was like an eye-awakening moment. It was amazing. It was so smooth. I mean, the frames, I'm running at like 100 plus consistently. You're obviously I'm playing at 1080, which is great. You can play up to 4K if you have the ability to do so. But it felt so good.
Really surprising. And going back to esports, right? We got to tie it back in because we are an esports podcast after all. The only thing that worries me is at the start, there's no custom games, meaning no pro scene.
Yep.
Like, instantly, it's not going to happen. Might be for the better, though, because you don't have these early access bullsh tournaments that people can get in just because they know people, and that's how they become pro. And the fact that there's not going to be some competitive ladder or anything at launch.
I get not having that at launch, so I really do.
But how fast esports works, are you worried that that is going to hurt?
Man, if I'm comparing it to the Overwatch scene, even if they do it in the next 6 months, that's considered fast,
You're
right?
fine.
Like, if they come out with a good system after you've, I think, stabilized the game on PC, because this will be competitive on PC, I think. I don't think
kind of
they're...
like if you want to look at it from a delay. This is not intentional. I don't think it's intentional. But if you're looking at a fact that this is going to allow a lot more people to get acclimated to the game,
Yep.
you're not going to have those, launch superstars that maybe had it for a while in early access or whatever.
Or had it in, like... So, I played Destiny 1. I feel like I have an advantage playing in the beta
well, just because
over people that are brand new. I know how the feel should be.
I mean, look at Brett. I even had to explain to him some things like, hey, this is what that grenade does. Don't go running towards the light.
Yeah, the game does a horrendous job, just so you know, in the beta of explaining anything. They don't explain it. They throw you into it.
I
They
had no
expect you to
clue.
play.
Yeah.
They expect that you played the first
Yeah,
one.
they don't tell you. They don't even tell you to open the menu, for the love of God. Like
Right.
you don't know anything. So, if you haven't played the beta, it is open, and you can really only do PvP for the most part. There's one PvE mission, so they really want you to test out the PvP. They want you to see the new competitive side of Destiny. Destiny used to not really have one because it was 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, 6v6, right? There was no consistency to game modes. Now everything is
it was
4v4.
4v4.
Yeah, maybe there wasn't. It was like
I don't think
two,
there was. I think it was
3s, and
3v3,
6.
yeah. It was really weird.
And so now by doing the 4v4 format, you see it similar to a CoD style setup, right? Like we know 4 players works in a competitive game. Smaller maps. I mean, they really made a hardcore focus for what we would consider an esports title, right? So I think they're in the right direction, but you have to come out with, like you said, a good competitive format and ranking system.
We've preached it before with like the Overwatch League. It's the foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation is what's going to matter here. And what's kind of funny, and I'll wrap this up before we get into e-news, is I'm sitting here and I'm playing Destiny. I'm like, I am loving this right now. Like, we were worried, like, man, are we going to still like this for DreamHack? Because we're always thinking of what game we want to kind of main at DreamHack, if you will. And I'm like, there's no doubt. 7 months from now, I will still be playing this game. There's no doubt. The matches are fast. The game is fast. There's a single player to kind of mess around on and everything there.
The single player is fantastic.
Right.
Like, it's a
Even
lot
the
of fun.
capture the point game mode, right? Where
Yeah.
there's respawns. And when was the last time you played a game like this with
They
respawns?
added a bomb defusal map, which is great. I thought that game
And
mode
I'm sitting
was
here
really
like,
cool.
man, I wonder, this is a lot of fun. It reminds me of Halo, obviously made by Bungie, which gives me faith in that they know how to do competitive because, let's face it, Halo was like the top esport
the
at
grandfather,
one time.
yeah. It was
Like it was, I mean, I will argue with anyone that says Counter-Strike was. I'm telling you, for the main stream,
for console also, right? Like
yeah,
they were, like,
right,
yeah, like
mainstream.
yeah.
Halo. I mean, it was when I was growing up. It was definitely a Halo, and that's what it kind of feels like. But it also made me chuckle because looking at it, I was like, I bet you I'd feel the same playing Call of Duty because it's the fast-paced play style, right? I now see why people like the Call of Duty because it's fast-paced. There is a skill curve. You forget how much teamwork matters, right, in this type of game, but yet one person can have that carry match, dropping the 30 bomb or anything like
Or one
that.
person can lose it for you just as easily.
Brett,
What's up, bud?
Hey, you know what? I held my own.
You did good.
You did good.
You
You,
did-
did good. We're proud of
you
you. We're
did
proud of you,
good.
son. We're proud of you,
Like,
son.
I
did
got
good.
the hang of it.
I was just making sure you were still
You
there.
were
I don't
moving
know
your
what you're
mouse
talking
and
about.
you were clicking buttons, and it was
Yeah.
like it was awesome.
Because the only other game I really played like that was Call of Duty, and in Call of Duty you're more aggressive. In this game, you can't be as aggressive, and you guys coached me on that, and I got the hang of it.
Yeah, just
know?
because your guy is called a Titan doesn't mean you are a Titan.
I could
Right?
just dive in.
No.
That ultimate, by the way, sucks.
Yeah, I agree. That's why Titan was my main in the first one, and it seemed rough. But
To each their own, because I'm enjoying Titan.
We will touch on that more, especially as that scene goes on. Now, I will say this before we get into e-news. If all of a sudden you start seeing less and less episodes, or, you know, we are out of the loop or anything like that, if the show randomly vanishes, it's definitely because we went pro in Destiny
100%.
Like,
100%.
without a doubt,
Like
we went pro.
I think we have a couple offers on the table that we're looking at.
I mean, Cloud9, call me. All right? Whatever you need, I'll be there.
Envious coming to Dallas, Austin. Optic coming here.
Yeah.
Hit us up, bro.
And you'll move to London too, right? You're flexible.
I mean, I'd be fine with it. Now, let's move on, speaking of moving, to e-news. We have some few things here in CSGO. SK is confirmed for the Blast Pro Series. If you haven't heard of it, that's okay because it's brand new. It is the first event organized by R-Fresh. I can only assume in esports, a misspelled word in full caps reads refresh because, you know, esports can't spell anything normal.
I think that's what it is, right?
Refresh. I'm going to say. Yeah. Refresh Entertainment will run from November 24th to 26th. This is a big tournament as far as teams go. They got North, Astralis, NIP, FaZe, G2, and now SK. So that's pretty huge.
250K on the line, too.
Yeah, not bad. For a 6-team tournament, that's pretty good. In other news, you have Rocket League, the Universal Open, as they call Season 1, so one can assume there will be Season 2. That wrapped up on NBC Sports just this last weekend. Gale Force Esports winning that. Method getting second. Brett, I know you watched a majority of that. Even though apparently you don't know what the NBC logo looks like.
And I'm ashamed to say, yeah, I was mistaken for CBS because I was looking it on.
Bro, they're not even close.
Brett is sitting here in our show chat that is for us to kind of discuss things throughout the week. Brett is like, I don't get it. I saw the CBS logo, but I couldn't find it on TV. I'm like, you mean NBC's logo? I'm like, bro, the turkey. Everyone knows that.
I'll take this one on the chin. Like, I deserve it.
You
I'll
should.
take this one. And but I did watch it on Twitch, and I enjoyed it. I'm just amazed at what those guys can do. I mean, to me, it just looks like there's no way they mean to do this.
No.
But they're doing, like, aerial crosses and stuff, and I'm like, man.
For the record,
only.
I do prefer 3v3s compared to 2v2s.
I would agree. I would agree. Because, you get...
I like
action,
the,
you know?
Well, I like
like,
the defense.
I did.
3v3s, you can offer more defense.
And I did see way too many goals where it was a breakaway and there was nobody behind.
Right.
Because they were being too aggressive.
I prefer less goals and closer games.
Yeah.
And then in Overwatch.
So like soccer.
A little bit like soccer. There you go. It's weird because they're almost the same thing, right? Same concept. In Overwatch news, two things. A, Cloud9 announced that they are, to pick their team name for London, is doing a... we even talk about this episode. Maybe we'll do that next week for like a Assault Mine because you're really upset about it. But the fact that teams can't carry over their names, right? So we always thought, oh, man, London Cloud9, that sounds kind of weird. Brett and I even speculated how that's going to work out last episode, and then they announced it. Teams are no longer able to accept... They can't use their brand. They have to create a new name, okay?
That's awesome.
We'll talk about it next episode, but... Cloud9 is now doing like a fan thing, like make a suggestion, we'll pick out the best, and then vote.
It's so stupid and meaningless.
So we need a center ring name.
We do.
So
we do.
Hit us up on our Twitter or Discord. We got to think of names for the center ring to represent people. We're community here. Now, speaking of community, we are going to need shoulders to cry on because the Overwatch World Cup draw happened last week. Now, this is, of course, happening at BlizzCon November 3rd, so we have a while to accept our fate.
We got all the Asians, dude.
This was the worst possible draw that the United States could happen because, like...
Let's get to that last, though. We'll save the worst for last because you have UK versus Sweden, Canada versus Australia, China versus France. And if you know the countries involved and simple math process of elimination, you have figured out the United States of America is facing South Korea, Like
shenanigans.
what? That's
It's like-
staged. It's staged.
Their
All right.
only hope is if
So
South
let's-
Korea is
so let's
playing in
say-
North Korea.
That's
That's like the only way. That's the only way they have a chance.
Hot Overwatch opinion. Yeah. All right. So
It's got to be
if-
fixed.
If the United States finds a way to beat South Korea, they have to then turn around and play the number 3 team in the world in China, because China is going to beat France.
Or play France, which is no
gimme.
no
Which is no
gimme there.
slouch, right.
This is
like
clearly
you got
the
number
harder
2,
side of the bracket.
If USA
on
beats
one side
South
of the bracket.
Korea,
1, 2, and 3 on one side of the bracket.
it's the miracle on ice. Like
it
it's
really
exactly
is.
what it would
It
be.
really is, because like the Miracle on Ice, that wasn't even the finals, right?
No,
that wasn't even
no,
for
it
gold.
was the semis, yeah.
Yeah, so this is as closest to the miracle that you can get. We're not going to break it all down right now because it's not till November 3rd, so there's really no point. But oh my,
Yeah.
like
Let's pour one out for our boys. And
It gave me a free
Red Bull.
weekend, which is nice.
this is going to be
I'll just catch the scores on that one.
it's going to be a good one nonetheless, right? Either we're going to get slaughtered or
You'll see something special that you
you're
can tell your
going to
kids
see
10 years
something
from now.
special.
Start working on your Doomfist, boys.
I mean, that's one positive though. It's not till November 3rd, so they
Yeah.
have plenty of time.
Yeah.
But sadly, we do not, because the show is done. Episode 73 is no longer. I appreciate you all who joined us for this journey, whether you skipped around, listened to the whole thing. Either way, we love you.
Just thanks for hitting play.
Just thanks for hitting play. You know, that's all we ask.
You're appreciated, guys. We love you. All 5 of you.
Let us know what you think of the show on Twitter at The Center Ring, on our website, tcr.gg, which the bills have been paid. I did get my second late notice email, which I swear to God was the first late notice, but hey, the website's been paid
We're
for.
back up, baby.
We're back up.
If you join us in Discord, you can hop in a couple games of Destiny
Oh,
with us.
we
or
are-
We're always playing something.
We are not exclusive,
No,
all right?
no.
You don't have to pay or do. We are open to party.
Yeah.
All right. You are our listeners, and we love you for that. That's all we need. All right.
And if you jump in there, Quick loves to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, at the
Spread
Center
them.
Ring on Twitter, hit us up. Until then, I'm Tim for Anuj and Brett. We'll see you next time.